Hey, my beautiful friends. I hope you all are doing fantastic. Um, I am doing pretty good. I feel rather calm right now because I just had a chat with my mom and I got some things out of my system. So I'm feeling fairly calm at the moment. And we have holiday stuff on the TV. So if you hear like little jingles in the background, that's what that is. But yeah, I'm just hanging out, fidgeting with my labor maker because I'm obsessed with this thing and it's been going everywhere with me and stuff. You guys know I have weird comfort items sometimes, and this is one of them. So don't mind me on that. But I've had a good day, so I actually wanted to go through and do like a little chat with me guys where I just talk a little bit about what's been going on and how I've been doing and stuff. But I've been doing good. I had to move my mattress around a little bit and stuff because the mattress was starting to sink in on this side a little bit, like because of the way I sleep. Like I sleep pretty much in the same position every single night, and I kind of sleep like curled up in a ball on my side, like, and stuff. So I had to switch my mattress so that the mattress didn't wear on just one side, and stuff. But I have all my lovies in bed with me and stuff like that. I've got all of the things that I normally keep in bed with me. I actually moved down to having only 2 weighted blankets instead of 3 because it was a little much and it was starting to get really sweaty under there during the nighttime. I would wake up sweating in the middle, like in the morning, and that was an uncomfortable feeling, and stuff like that. But other than that, like, my bed is all done and I did it completely myself and I feel very good about it, and stuff. And my room obviously is clean and organized and everything, and I've just kind of been just hanging out today. We actually ended up having a day of we ended up having like my partner and I had like a date kind of day today where we basically went out to this place that's like, it's a little city that's like a city that's like town city, I don't know what it is. It's like about 30 to 40 minutes from where we live. And we basically got food. We went to this location called Kava, and then we walked around a little mall place which had some unique shops and stuff, like local shops. And then after that, before we headed home, we went to Dunkin' and we got donuts and coffee, which is really good. I actually really enjoyed it. So that was a fun time. And then we came home, we watched some videos together, we talked. I had a bit of a moment of crying and getting upset about some stuff, but it wasn't like a major thing. It was a minor little moment. And then after that, we watched obviously our nightly video of Chase the Bro, and then hubby went to bed and I talked with my mom. I talked with a friend of mine. We just had a good day overall, and stuff. And I've just been thinking a lot about like healing and recovering from trauma, and how do you go from living in an environment and living in a space where it's like you feel like you have to be masking all the time, and you feel like you have to kind of be this person that isn't truly you, like, but yet you feel like you have to be that person to keep peace. It's an abusive situation. It's just hard, and it happened it was just one of those situations where it's like my developmental years, the years of my life that were supposed to be the best years of my life, basically my childhood, adolescent years, had a lot of really, really difficult, really hard, really traumatic things happen. And now it's like, I mean, I've been in therapy. Obviously, you guys know this because I talk about this openly, and there's nothing about therapy that there is to be ashamed of. I talk about my journey simply for the fact that it may help somebody else, maybe feel less alone. And if you can't go to therapy because you can't afford it, or you can't find a therapist that you click with, or maybe you have had therapists in the past and you just didn't feel validated by the therapist. I'm hoping that me talking about my experiences will help somebody feel less alone, help somebody feel like their experiences are valid, because your experiences are valid regardless of what you've gone through, regardless of what anybody has said to you, regardless of anything. Who you are and what you've been through, and everything is valid. And it's okay to have a hard time, and it's okay to be in therapy, and it's okay to recognize that you still have a lot of healing to do. There's nothing wrong with healing. There's nothing wrong with having coping skills that maybe don't make sense to everybody, because not everybody's going to understand. Like, hell, I carry around a label maker because it is a comfort item. I carry around calculators because they're comfort items. I have stuffed animals because they're comfort items. I have those things. I obviously drink out of kids' cups again because it's comforting to me, and there's nothing wrong with those things. I sleep in a kid's bed, basically. I mean, I'm a full-grown adult, and I sleep in a bed tent because it's safe. It makes me feel safe. I have a sensory space that is basically a bunch of stuffed animals with a toddler bed inside of this crate kind of situation, if you want to call it that, with blankets and weighted blankets and a bunch of other things. And it's what makes me feel safe, guys. And there's no shame in that. And I wear clothes that are probably a size larger than what I should be wearing. And I live at home pretty much in jammies and sweatpants. I have a few pairs of jeans that I wear when I go out of the house, and I try when I go out of the house wanting to look more presentable, but I basically live in jammies and sweatpants for the most part at home. So it's like, there's nothing wrong with that. My style isn't very fancy. You guys see my hair. It's literally simple. It's a simple cut. I fidget with my hair a lot. You guys know my hair oftentimes sticks up and doesn't look great, and this is real. This is like anybody who knows me in real life, and there is a few of you who know me in real life. Any of those of you who know me in real life can probably vouch in the comments and say in the comments that who you see on my channel is who you're gonna get. There is no filter here in terms of who I am as a person. Obviously, I'm not going to come on here and say certain things, and I'm not going to come on here and show me bawling my eyes out or having a full-on meltdown, because that's just not something I'm going to show. But I'm as transparent as one can be online, so you guys see my room, you guys see my bags, you guys see me for who I am. Like, when we were out of the house today, I was carrying this, and I was wearing this. If that says anything about who I am as a person, my room is full of stuffies, is full of blankets, is full of toys, is full of fidgets, is full of dolls, is full of just things, knickknacks that make me happy, that make me feel good. I love learning, I love reading, I love listening to music, I love nature scenes, I love watching videos on Agery and stuff like that. I love watching videos of room tours, kawaii room tours, and room tours of those who are neurodivergent, and like, I love that stuff. I love rainbows and color and softness and cuteness and plushies, and I love cats and animals in general. You guys see I have a ton of plushies, and I love wildlife, and I love sea life, and I love reborns and all of the things. Like, this is me. I love kids books. I have like a crap ton of kids books. And I'm not ashamed of any of that. And it's okay to be who you are. And I share my thoughts after therapy and the things that, like, I learn. Not for any other reason, but in the hopes that it's going to help somebody. I talk about my experiences about things in the hopes that somebody else can relate and can maybe feel less alone watching my videos and knowing that they have others like them around them, and that there are other people like them. Because even for me, for the longest time, like, I hid who I was, and I pretended to be something I wasn't, and I masked so much because I didn't think there was anybody else like me. Obviously there isn't anybody else exactly like me, but there's other people who do things like me, who carry around comfort items that are maybe more eccentric, who like stuffed animals even at my age, and who collect those things, who do that stuff. And it's the whole point is to hopefully make someone else feel less alone. Because I know back when I was younger, and I'm still pretty young, obviously, like, being in my 30s doesn't mean that I'm old, but being like in my early 20s, being a teen, being, that age, 18, 19, I wish I had seen more people like me and known that it was okay to be those things, and it was okay for me to still like stuffed animals into my 20s. It was okay for me to still have all of that stuff and not feel like I had to, hide everything in a closet, because if I displayed who I was, then that made me automatically, like, it felt like I was being rejected because of who I was. And so I'm showing me as who I am, with everything, with all of my faults, with all of my quirks, with all of my little things in these videos that you guys see every single day, to make someone else hopefully feel less alone, to make other people feel like maybe their way of living and who they are in themselves isn't wrong, and that it's okay to be neurodivergent, and it's okay to have chronic illness, and it's okay to be on this healing journey that is up and down, and it's okay to have been in therapy for years and still have a lot to work through, and it's okay to be an adult who still enjoys kid things, who still enjoys cartoons, who still enjoys coloring, who still enjoys stuffed animals and dolls and collecting trinkets, and go to McDonald's sometimes and get a Happy Meal because that's what makes me happy, and that's what, like, it brings me joy. And at the end of the day, like, isn't that what life is about? Isn't the point of our life to do the things that make us happy? Like, I feel like in the world we are so, like, quick to judge those who are different, to judge those who see things differently than we do, to make assumptions because we think we know something about somebody, or because we think that we have an idea of who somebody is and stuff like that. And I feel like if we just lived in a world that, like, we just accepted each other, like, why can't we just accept each other for who we are, and, like, instead of immediately trying so hard to make people fit into these, like, boxes that maybe they don't fit into. Like, there's nothing wrong with who we are as people. Like, there's nothing wrong in liking a stuffed animal. There's nothing wrong in your room still looking like the room of that of a child. There's nothing wrong in having sensory toys. There's nothing wrong in having a sensory corner. There's nothing wrong in collecting blankets or collecting little things. There's nothing wrong in those things. I mean, at the end of the day, like, what are you doing except taking care of yourself? And if you're an adult who does all of these things, and obviously most of my content is geared towards 18 plus and adults and everything, because I talk about a lot of topics that are not necessarily for kids, even though it looks like my channel is made for kids. It's not. Like, I'm a child at heart, and we all have a child inside of us that needs care and it needs attention. It's an inner child. We all have that, and there's nothing wrong with being in touch with that side of us. And that's one of the things that, like, as a kid, I used to always wonder why adults were so, like, always so stressed and always so, like, frustrated with the world, and they seemed so unhappy. And I think a lot of times what happens is, as we get older, we lose touch with that childlike sense of wonder and that innocence and that pure side of us that comes with just enjoying life for what it is. And that's the thing about kids, and that's the thing, like, that I find fascinating, is when we're kids, things like reading and learning and all of that is made fun and is made to feel enjoyable, and it's put into music, and it's put into nursery rhymes, and it's put into all of these other things. And then we get to be adults, and suddenly information feels like is like so dry, cut and dry, and like unenthusiastic sometimes. And it's like, why can't learning and education and bettering ourselves and being who we are as people, why can't it just include more fun stuff? Like, why can't an adult have a room that is unique? Like, do adults really have to live in an environment that's like, you're not allowed to have toys, you're not allowed to have stuffed animals, you're not allowed to like cartoons, you have to watch adult shows, you have to watch the news, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to. And yes, being informed and being aware as an adult of our world and being informed about, you know, what's going on in the world, politically, socially, economically, all of that is 100% important. But at the same time, like, getting so caught up in all of these stressful things that we never give ourselves time to just rest, time to just be, and to laugh, and to just enjoy the moment. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it's kind of my whole perspective, I guess, if you want to say. I know this video was absolutely not scripted, it was not planned, it was kind of just, I picked up the camera with the intention to talk, and I talked. But basically, I hope that my videos help somebody. I hope that my videos make somebody out there feel less alone and help somebody and show the people that it's okay to be different. It's okay to have struggles. It's okay to go to therapy and still be able to live a good life. And that even with all of that, even with all of the emotional stuff that comes with therapy, and even with all the emotional stuff that comes with dealing with trauma and healing from trauma and having chronic illness and being neurodivergent in a world that isn't built for you, you can still have a good life, and you can still be all of those things and still have a loving partner and still have a beautiful family and still be who you are. And that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to be that way. It doesn't necessarily mean that every single person who is neurodivergent or autistic or who has a disability doesn't mean that everybody is going to be able to do those things. I know that there are some people who aren't able, who need more lifelong support and who need more care and who need more, like, who may never do certain tasks, like certain things like drive, or maybe they'll need care for the rest of their lives and they won't be able to get married or they won't be able to have kids because whatever. I know that there are all of those struggles. I know, and I know that it's really hard. It's really hard on those parents who have to deal with that sort of thing where you bring a child into the world and you have all these dreams and all these aspirations and all of these things, and then suddenly you're found in a situation where you're told your child is not going to be able to do this or not going to be able to do that or not going to be able to X, Y, and Z. And I know that that's hard, and there are things even for me that I thought I would be doing at this point in my life that I'm not because of my disabilities. And let's be honest, no matter how you view it and how you put it and how positive an outlook can be, does not mean that having a disability is fun. Does not mean that having a disability doesn't have its challenges. Even with me, I can portray all of these positive things about how you can have a good life even with all of your challenges. It doesn't take away from the challenges. It doesn't take away from those struggles, you know? My hard days are really hard and my good days are really good, and sometimes there are going to be weeks where things are harder, where I may not be able to sit up like this and stand up and walk around and do all the things, and where I'm sometimes so completely exhausted and completely, like, just done, where all I can do is lie in bed and under my weighted blanket and just try to just be. And sometimes that's all you can do, is just be. And that sometimes has to be okay, even if it's not fun, even if it's frustrating. But we have to normalize human nature, I feel like. That humans are not robots, and that we're not built to be constantly happy-go-lucky, everything's great, but also not be on the other end of the spectrum where everything's always negative and everything's always bad, and have these expectations that you have to get rid of the things that bring you joy because you're an adult, and now that you're an adult you have to do this, that, and the other. You have to have a job, and you have to get married, and you have to have kids, and you have to work from 9 to 5, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to pay bills, and you can't have fun, and you can't do this, and you can't do whatever it is, okay? I'm just saying, whatever it is, like, you can still have fun. You can still laugh and joke and enjoy the occasional inner child stuff. And that's okay, and there's nothing wrong with it, and it can be good for the soul and for the mind and for our just well-being to sometimes just revert back to this innocence of a child and a wonder of a child, and just, I love that. I love the fact that I can just see a stuffed animal and light up and enjoy that thing. Like, it's not supposed to be this big, ginormous, like, mountain of negativity. And even in the negativity, there can be good, and even in the hard moments, that can follow. Every storm has a rainbow. You cannot have a rainbow without a storm. You cannot have a rainbow on sunny days all the time, and when it's just sunny out. You have to have rain. Sometimes beauty comes from the thing is that, to me, that makes being human such a precious thing is our experiences, our understanding of our experiences, the fact that we get to feel, the fact that we get to have these creations like stuffed animals that and things, and the fact that we have things like this and TVs and all of that stuff is just amazing to me. And I hope you guys find this content at least somewhat helpful and relatable, and if nothing else, I hope that it at least puts a smile on your face to see that there are people out in this world that aren't 100% of the time going to be negative. And I try really hard, guys, to not come on this channel all the time and always be everything's bad and I'm struggling all the time. And yeah, I have a lot of days where I struggle, and I have a lot of days where things are hard and stuff, but I also have a lot of joy in my life, and I have a wonderful partner, and I have a wonderful home, and I have wonderful supports around me, and I have so much to be grateful for. And I hope that, if nothing else, I hope that me sharing my world brings you guys a little bit of joy. That seeing my stuffed animals and seeing my love of these little things brings you guys at least a little bit of joy in your day, and it reminds you that it's okay to be you. Anyway, I'm going to go because I'm going to go to bed because it is late, and tomorrow we have a busy day. So I love you guys. As always, remember, if you're going through it, you'll get through it, and remember who you are, and take a little time to be quirky and be silly and be goofy and have fun, and it's okay to be you. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!